Namaste and welcome everyone for today's webinar on Mother Womb, Engaging the Divine Feminine. I'm glad to be hosting this webinar with Shilpa Agrawal, one of our faculties. Shilpa ji is amazing, and a special guest faculty, Anumeha Gupta. Glad to have you on. So before we start the session, I'm going to invite Shilpa ji to lead us through a short breathing exercise and invocation of the goddess. Shilpa ji?
Thank you, Ankurji, for hosting. And thank you, Anu, for being here with us. Ankurji, can you mind stop screen sharing? Yeah, then we can all be together here. Wonderful. So let's just take a moment to be here and to be in this space together. And as we invoke the goddess, I'm going to invite you to breathe in and out 3 times. And on the inhale, we're going to breathe in the blessings, receive them into our body. And as we exhale, we're going to release out. So I'm going to guide you. It's just going to be very quick. I'd like to start with your left hand on your heart. And for women, your right hand on your womb, which is right below your navel. And for men, your right hand on your navel. So we'll start like this. And we'll just close our eyes. And as I count to 5, on the second count, we'll bring the blessings into our heart. And by the 5th count, we'll bring them into our womb or navel space. And then we'll release out. So we close our eyes. And we invite in now the blessings of Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, and Mahasaraswati, and all her beautiful forms and manifestations. And we breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we release 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we breathe in the blessings 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we release everything, all of our fears and struggles and concerns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And one more time, we breathe in the blessings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And open your eyes and come back.
Great.
And Ankurji, I would love if all 3 of us were all together for this conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, starting us off with that breathing exercise and grounding and foundation. It's so important, feels good. Thank you, Shilpa ji, for that. And so let's get started. If you haven't yet, please put in the chat where you are zooming in from. We got Nalini ji from Westland, Oregon, and Kashina ji from Goa. We've got Sophia from Brazil. Glad to have you on. Raghavan ji, thank you. I'm in Los Angeles. Shilpa ji is also in Los Angeles. Anumeha ji, do you want to do a quick audio check and let people know where you are joining in from?
Sure, I'm from the Bay Area, California.
Great. Namaste. Amisha ji from Houston, glad to have you on. Yes, please put in the chat and I will give you a quick shout out. Lomas ji from Houston, Texas. Raghavan ji is from Chennai, India. Yes, glad to have you on. And if you put it in the chat later, I will be sure I'll try to remember to give you a shout out. So please do engage. And part of the engagement, we have an opening question. So if you can see in the poll, if you don't see it, minimize, maximize your screen. It's an interesting little question on the purpose of the womb. The womb is of use to us only when we want to have a child. Obviously, on this webinar, there's context to that. So please let us know what you feel like. About 31 of our attendees have answered the question. We have almost 40 people with us so far. Thank you for joining. Shanji from Florida, Roseanne from Washington, Ashishji from Michigan, Riddhi from the Netherlands. Awesome. And so today's webinar on engaging the mother womb, or engaging the divine feminine, mother womb. And so we have our faculty, Shilpa Agrawal. She's taught a few courses at HUA before. She's an author, a healer. She has a lot of different initiatives. Looking forward to her next release of books or her next trilogy. But in this webinar, she's going to speak about pranic shakti, or the divine feminine force existent in women's bodies and wombs that can be harnessed to bring about inner healing and empowerment. And joining Shilpa Ji is Anumeha Gupta, HUA guest faculty. She's an Ayurvedic wellness counselor, and she's going to be talking about the class also, the mother womb, engaging the divine feminine, and we'll get into that, a 10-week journey into the innate wisdom and prana of the womb. We're going to get into that, the pathway, how to address and alleviate issues such as, I guess, PMS, infertility, uterine disorders, emotional complexities surrounding miscarriage and loss. We're also drawing wisdom from Hindu yogis Sri Aurobindo and Mother Mira, the teachings of Vedic monk Mother Maya, and Sri Vidya tradition and the sciences of Ayurveda and yoga. So this is going to be an action-packed, very beautiful webinar. And with that, let me introduce Shilpa Ji, who is an internationally published author, pranic healer, decolonial academic, and radio host. I mixed up the introduction a little bit, but she teaches mothers and women how to engage with their subtle body and the divine feminine to harness forces of healing for themselves and their children. She's previously taught at HUA the yoga of motherhood, and her specialty is helping women heal childhood wounds, ancestral trauma, and difficult relationships so that they and their families can live full, happy, and healthy lives. Shilpa Ji has received initiation into several healing modalities and traditions, both in India and in the West, and has intensively studied and integrated yogic frameworks and modern medical understandings of epigenetics and the energy body into her own healing practices. And now that her own children are grown, Shilpa Ji is currently nurturing other eggs in her nest, including this trilogy of novels I alluded to, and projects in radio and TV, along with continued work in teaching and healing. Thank you, Shilpa Ji, for joining us today. It's a pleasure. And then we have Anumeha Ji, thank you, Shilpa Ji, is an intuitive Ayurvedic wellness counselor. Anumeha Ji is a yoga teacher and tarot reader. She does sacred work with moms to identify the barriers to their wellness and help them get out of their own way. She studied Ayurveda with Dr. J. Apti, as well as Mother Maya, a Vedic monk. She is knowledgeable in both diagnostic and spiritual aspects of Ayurveda. She's a yoga teacher and teaches transformational workshops and consultations to help moms implement holistic tools to overcome past trauma, anxiety, depression, and anger so they can reclaim their energy and show up fully in the workplace and for their families. She mentioned she's in the Bay Area, Santa Clara, with her family, and in her spare time, she pursues the art of tarot reading, as well as stand-up comedy. Great, great. All right. Daniela, thank you. All right. Anybody else put in the chat where you're joining it from? Prajakji from Ohio State. Glad to have you on. And so let's get into our webinar. So the first question I have is, I guess, for both. So, you help women who are struggling with PMS, infertility, uterine disorders, and the emotional complexities surrounding miscarriage and loss. Kind of heavy start. But the symptoms of intergenerational trauma, such as rage, anger, and grief, are also part of what you deal with. So additionally, you help women who have a challenging relationship with their own mothers, children, or spouses, with their own selves and bodies. So let's start off by sharing a little bit about your work and how you address these questions and challenges.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Ankurji, for those wonderful introductions. So I'm going to just start with, so many women suffer from pain, migraines, other chronic illnesses, and sometimes mysterious ones that appear, disappear, reappear. And so much of feminine pain is dismissed by the current medical establishment, or seen as something in our minds or something about our emotional reactivity, but it's not. It's actually something that is in our bodies, in our very cells. And our cells have memories that stretch beyond lifetimes. and stretch beyond all the way back to our first ancestors and ancestresses. We carry so much within us. And so it's not just all of that. It's not just the pressures and burdens of our daily lives, but it's also what is the burdens of our past. And we are shaped by our parents and our ancestors and their struggles and their triumphs. So all of that is going into what we're feeling at any moment, what we're thinking at any moment, our behaviors at any moment. And we are now learning from the modern work of epigenetics what our ancient yogis understood, that not only physical traits can pass down from generation to generation, but also thought patterns, emotional patterns, behavioral patterns, reoccurring patterns of illness, depression, anxiety, struggles, financial hardship. These can run in families. And so it's not just, sometimes we think, oh, why am I feeling this way? Why am I like struggling so much? So much of it is not ours, but it's coming down to us. And this means that our children are impacted too. And some of the work that I do is I help women become conscious of these patterns, and I help them release them, because in the release, they can liberate not only themselves, but they can liberate their families, their children, their lineages, and experience life in a whole new way with expansiveness and curiosity and greater health and vibrancy. And additionally, I help women connect with the divine feminine, which is a force like none other. It is Shakti. And Shakti is a primordial, creative, activating, dynamic, divine feminine energy through which the cosmos was born and continues to manifest. Shakti is also the force of compassion, patience, intuition, devotion, and also ferocity, strength, willpower. And most of all, to me, this divine feminine force is love. Love is the most powerful force in the cosmos. It is the weft and weave of our creation and our being. And it is what brings us healing. And I help women unleash the Shakti within themselves. And as you will learn in our course, the seat of that Shakti is in our wombs. And that is, it's centered in our wombs. So our wombs are not only for creating children, but they're the center of our healing, the center of our recovery, the center of our power and our Shakti. Anu?
Thank you so much, Shilpaji. I just loved hearing everything you said. Every word, it was like gems. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, I think somewhere we are just channels, and we have in our own journey learned to connect with this Shakti power. And this Shakti power now flows through us to help other women. And I would just like to share a short story. I had a client who came in with digestive issues. And she was my first client actually when I started my practice. And I was, okay, what are you eating? What time are you sleeping? And I was going more into her digestion and putting her on a special diet and a cleanse and all those things. And every time she came, she actually wanted to talk to me. And I used to listen a little, and then I used to focus on talking to her, telling her exactly what she needs to do. And after a few sessions, a pattern started emerging. She was having a disconnected and challenging relationship with her mother. And this lady was around 40 years old. And I kept ignoring it, thinking that it's all about the body, but actually it was about that relationship in her childhood. And as I went deeper and deeper, I found out that this continues over generations. So the trauma was being carried by her mom and then her grandmother. So this is what led me into the journey of helping women, especially moms, realize that there's so much more to us than what meets the eye. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, there's so much more to this conversation. And I know I was talking to Shilpa yesterday. It's like this is the big shift that needs to happen in society broadly, right? Lifting up of the divine feminine, a celebration of what Shakti is and how that needs to reverberate forward. And thank you so much for taking this, learning it, and now sharing it. So how do you help women discover their Shakti and in this course and this program? What are some of the hows of how you help mothers study with you?
So I want to talk more about like what do women mothers who study with us gain? Because I think that's important rather than the hows. And I want to focus on what are you going to gain when you study with us? You're going to gain a deeper awareness of your subtle bodies. We're going to go into yogic frameworks of understanding we're not just this physical body, but there's layers to us. The koshas, we're going to talk about them. And these are the layers in which trauma and other stagnant emotions and mental patterns reside. And once you are able to kind of go deeper and touch upon what lies within, you are able to release it. Sometimes what resides within is rooted in our own lives, our childhoods or whatever. And sometimes it is rooted in the past life, and sometimes it is rooted in an ancestral lineage. So you see, we are moving beyond physical symptoms into the deeper layers of the body, just like Anu spoke about. It's not just about treating the digestive system, it's about treating the deeper issues, and that's where the solution is. We are going to the roots of the illness or the disease or the disharmony or the thought, emotional, behavioral pattern that's causing distress. We are going to the truth of who you are. See, a person can speak untruth. We can open our mouth and we can speak truth or untruth or whatever. But the body only knows truth. The body only resides in truth. So when you touch upon what's here, deeper, what you will see and what is revealed to you is the truth. You will understand that this is happening on my body, on this outside. I'm having this pain. I'm having these symptoms. But what is really the truth of what's happening is revealed from the inside. So when a woman is able to go within and touch upon what resides there, when she is able to see it, to acknowledge it, and to bring that heart energy and that pranic shakti in her womb to it, she can actively release it. So the women who study with me gain two things. One, they gain the skills and tools to go within and to recognize unhealthy patterns, and they gain an ability to cultivate a stronger relationship with the divine feminine, with the Shakti that resides in them, with the Shakti prana in their wombs. And, you know, I've worked with many women over the years. One woman I worked with 5 years ago, she was so disconnected from her own source of Shakti, as many of us are, and her prana was very weak. And she thought she was doing well because she was taking all these natural supplements. And when I spoke to her about it, she was taking 20 to 30 supplements a day for this, for that, I don't even know. And in working with her, we started to cultivate a stronger sense of knowing within. I asked her to start becoming aware of her emotions, her thoughts, because if you start becoming aware, you'll realize there are patterns. Little by little, she began to get stronger. We began to wean her off of all of the supplements. And it takes time. Healing takes time. Healing like this is not like taking a pill where you'll feel better, you know, pop 2 Advil and you'll feel better. And that's why we're offering this course, so that women can journey with us over the course of 10 weeks. They can learn the skills. They can gain the insights necessary to eventually become their own healers. Some of my students have continued to take classes with me over the course of the last 1.5 years, and I have witnessed their transformations. And I think a couple of them are with us today and can speak at the end of this little of our presentation. So with that, I'll give it to you, Anu.
Yeah, Shilpaji, I think you covered it beautifully. The only thing I would say is that we all have that Shakti, and like you rightly said, we help women reconnect with that Shakti. They have the power inside them. We just help them move the barriers out of the way so that they can connect with that ever-flowing wisdom within. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Let's keep it going. So the question is next, how did you get into this work? How did you get on this path? Yeah, both of you. It's an interesting space to be in.
Thank you, Ankurji. I think my own work began at my own journey began at age 14 when I fell sick with an autoimmune disease that my maternal grandmother had. And as I went down the long, decades-long journey of healing, I tried every type of therapy and modality that I came across, and I ended up realizing two things. One, my disease was rooted in my maternal grandmother's experience as a refugee during the partition of India when she was 17. It was rooted not just genetically, like a trait of her disease being passed to me, but it was rooted emotionally, energetically, mentally. And the second was that no therapy, I mean, therapies have been great. I went into Ayurveda is incredible and many other therapies, but that no therapy was as powerful to me as learning how to heal myself. We all need guidance. We all need teachers. We all need doctors, but ultimately we need ourselves, and we, in becoming our own healers, we can forge the path to our healing in conjunction with the supportive team around us, our doctors, our guides, our healers. Also, I came into this work because as a mom, I remember days and weeks and months and years where I was working nonstop to take care of my family's needs, their schedules, their well-being, their nutrition, their social stuff, also the home, my two cats. I was putting in hours and hours of domestic labor, mental labor, emotional labor, spiritual labor, but most of it was invisible. And we moms don't get paychecks for this work. And oftentimes it doesn't count in the same way as earning a paycheck or having a great job title or, you know, all of those things. But it is some of the most important work we can do. And there were many days for a couple years that I felt very angry and unseen in the work I did. And then as I went into my path of healing, I found some of those same emotional patterns in my lineage, feeling angry and unseen, taken for granted. And I touched upon emotions of my grandmother, great-grandmother, great-great-grandmother, and beyond. And in my healing journey, I began to cultivate self-compassion, self-respect. I came to understand the value of what I was giving to my family, and I released so much. And I saw my health continue to improve. I became stronger. I became more vibrant. I became happier. And this is what I'm seeing in my students too. Their journeys into strength, their journeys into confidence, and their journeys into happiness. Anu, please share.
Yeah. Thanks, Shilpaji. Like you rightly said, it's all about our inner journey when we are healing ourselves, and then the path is shown to us. So for me, I'll say very quickly, I noticed a pattern in my own life where I used to get more angry with my son than my daughter. And I was like, why is this happening again and again? And when I got angry with my son, it was really angry, very angry, out of proportion. And I used to wonder, why is this happening? And then I saw a pattern that it was not just my son. I seemed to be angry with a lot of men in my life. I'd like you to sit with that. And then when I went deeper, I found out this came from my past generations, because I'm from Northern India. A lot of women in North India were subjugated when the patriarchy came into power. They were holding this anger against men, which was transferred to me. But I must say that it is possible to release that anger, because that anger hurts us much more than anyone else. It is possible to release the anger and reconnect with your family, reconnect with the men, enjoy a more harmonious and fulfilling relationship. And that, I think, is a gift we give ourselves and our family. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. And both of you touched on kind of history, past, right? So can you tell us quickly, and some of us don't know, what is ancestral or intergenerational trauma? And how does a person know that they're carrying it?
Great question, Ankurji. First of all, Anu, thank you for sharing that. That was a very powerful example of trauma and how it passes down, and the anger that you had. And it was, like you said, out of proportion. Why were you more angry at your son than your daughter? There's something there that you were not conscious of, but it was just this eruption, right? So that's, that your example was beautiful in explaining that. But I want to go to Carl Jung, who was actually, a famous psychologist, psychiatrist. And he said that what remains unconscious does not dissolve, but rather resurfaces in our lives as fate or fortune. And he's pointing to a truth from our ancient teachings, which he was highly influenced by our texts, and that our lives are a continuum. Our souls evolve from lifetime to lifetime, and we are born and shaped by our parents, who are born and shaped by theirs, who are born and shaped by theirs, and so on and so on. Just like everything in nature is a pattern, we are too. And this means that we oftentimes repeat patterns. Some of them are positive, but some of them are detrimental. And oftentimes they are unconscious. So what we know is that this suffering of our ancestors does not always dissolve or diminish with time. It does eventually gradually diminish, but there are certain things that do not diminish with time. Even if the person who has suffered the original trauma has died, like my maternal grandmother has passed now, even though her story remained for years in silence, submerged in silence, only to be spoken of in the last years of her life experience, her memory, her body sensations lived on in me. And the unresolved pains and traumas, it's like they reach out from the past to find resolution in the present, in the bodies and minds of those of us who are living on the earth now. We are here not only to manifest, but to heal and to resolve what has come before us. So the silence and secrets of our ancestors find their way into our bodies, into the bodies of our children, and they can create disharmony and they can create disease. And this is why we must find our way into safe spaces, into communities where we can speak, where we can be heard, where we can be received with compassion. And Jung said, whatever is not conscious, as I said, he said, whatever is not conscious will be experienced as fate. In other words, we're likely to keep repeating unconscious patterns until we bring them into the light of awareness. So fate, in a way, dominates our lives until we become conscious. This is how we break our fates. This is how we create life out of free will, is by breaking what is unconscious in us, about bringing it to the light of awareness. So whatever is too difficult to process does not fade away. It's stored in our conscious. And so this is why we must bring it to awareness. And in this class, we learn not only how from the moment of conception, a mother's womb shapes a child's brain, their personality, their emotional temperament, and many more aspects of their being, but we also take students experientially back into their mother's womb. into their grandmother's womb, back and back and back, not only to see what's there. And our students touch upon so many amazing things that they see, but to also cultivate compassion and to bring blessings into their bodies, into the bodies of their ancestresses and into their children. We bring healing into our lineages.
Nice. It comes across, your passion and how you want to engage. So why are you so passionate about helping moms?
Well, we are 75 plus years post-colony, right? In India and much of South Asia, but that is only geographically. Our bodies, minds, and hearts are still deeply colonized, as we talk about a lot here at HUA, right? We're going through an unlearning process. We're going through a decolonizing process. So much of the history of our ancestral trauma still lives within us, as it has for me. And we continue to live and think in ways that can be harmful to our health and well-being. So, as Ankurji mentioned, the time has come to recover the sacred place of womanhood and motherhood in our societies, the sacredness of our work, which was always there in our culture. Mothers and women are the linchpin of our recovery, not only as families, but as communities, because we are mainly the ones that shape the next generation, not only in our wombs, but even in the case of adoption, mothers are almost always the one that are shaping their children. Fathers are very important. They have an important role as well, but mothers' roles are different. And we have so much impact on our children. And when we are healed and strong, this is what I see 100%. When mothers are healed and strong, their children are also healed and strong. We want to keep our children safe. We want to keep them healthy. We have to begin with us. And we are so powerful. We have the answers within us, not only for our own health and well-being, but for our children. And I have done that with mothers. They will ask me about their children, and I will find the answer within them to what their child needs. And lastly, I'm passionate about helping moms because I remember what it was like when my children were sick, when they were young, and the helplessness that I felt, even though I knew how to give them good nutrition, I knew how to put my hands on them and massage them or give them love. Now when my children are sick, I feel different. They're grown up, and oftentimes they're far away from me. They're in college or whatever, but they can call me up on the phone and say, "Mom, I'm not feeling well." And I can just go to this place of sitting quietly, and I can bring them medicine through myself. This is the power we moms have. I can touch upon their subtle bodies. I can go and I can give them power from my Shakti Prana, and I can nourish them in that way. And all women have this power. It's part of our ancestral knowledge. It's part of our ancient knowledge, and we just have to remember it. Anu, please.
Thank you, Shilpaji. I think you covered everything. I have nothing else to add. This was beautiful. And I'm also noticing some questions coming up in the chat, which is excellent. So I would love to have time for our students also, past students, to speak, as well as to answer as many questions as we can. So I'm good for now. Thank you.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, we'll get to the questions shortly. Thank you for pointing that out. And please use the Q&A box to submit questions as opposed to the chat. Just makes it easier for us to make sure we answer your questions. We had this poll at the start. The womb is of use to us only when we have or when we want to have a child. Almost everyone answered. So I'll end the poll and I'll share the results if you want to take a look at that. 8 people said yes. 26 people said no. 17 people said they're not sure. Interesting. Kavita G from Chicago, thank you for joining. Shashikant G from San Francisco. If you haven't yet, please put in the chat where you're joining us from. We are going to make this next half a little bit more interactive and take your questions. But I do have one more. So do you have a tip? And Anuji, you like went into this, and I think you touched on it. Do you have a tip for moms who are experiencing these symptoms of anger, rage, or feeling of being overwhelmed? What is a tip that you can give? Some advice.
I think first thing is there is hope. There is always hope. We always have these spiritual guides who are helping us, and they are the higher power you believe in. It could be Devi, it could be Krishna, it could be any religious higher power you believe in, and they are always taking care of you. So never lose hope. And secondly, give yourself grace. We are all going through trying times. And this is just the journey. It's like Rumi says, the heart needs to break so many times for it to break open. And that's what's happening to us. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So please put your questions in the Q&A box. I have a question about the course. I'm going to launch it. You don't have to answer right now. We're going to take some questions. We'll get into it, but let us know if you're interested in taking the course already, or if you have questions, we'll take your questions and get into the details. But if you're interested in enrolling in the course, Mother Womb Engaging the Divine Feminine, obviously in half an hour and an hour of webinar, we can't get into all the details, but this first little bit of introduction and context, I think, was definitely eye-opening for me. I know I hope for you too as the audience. So let's get to the questions. I'm going to take the Q&A ones first, and then I'll go back to the chat and see if we can scroll through. So an anonymous person, we like it when you actually put your name, but it's fine. This is kind of is the womb the same as the uterus, the biology versus the figurative or the broader encompassing, right? What about a woman who's had a hysterectomy?
Very good questions. Thank you. So in our very first class, actually, we go into the layers of the womb. So the uterus is the physical womb, but then there is a deeper layer, an inner layer, and then there is an even deeper layer. And I've been very lucky because Anu is a guest faculty for this class, and I also have another guest faculty, Rosemary Moran, who is a doula, and she does our very first meditation where we go into the womb on these three layers: the outer physical, the inner kind of physical, and then the inmost divine intangible layer of the womb. And so we will be getting into that. And yes, you can definitely do this work if you don't have the physical womb, because the womb exists on multiple layers, as I just said. And we've had women in the class that didn't have the actual physical uterus in them. Anu, is there anything you want to add? Okay.
Okay. Nalini has an interesting question. How many ancestors, is there a specific number, extended family members are able to gain from us doing this work? I think that's like a capacity question, but this is why we're offering the course, right? This is why Shilpa Ji is taking this initiative and leading this potentially a program on the divine feminine, right? Right now we have the certificate program in Hindu studies, and this course plugs into that. But we're going to have a whole, hopefully, program where we're really digging into and exploring and elevating the divine feminine from the Hindu perspective. So you as an individual, just say you can help as many people as you have capacity for, right? But Hindu University of America, what we're building here is going to give us the ability to scale and share and really transform the whole society and culture, which has to happen. But it also has to happen one at a time. And so again, I'll hand it to you, Shilpa Ji, to take it a little further on that. But that's kind of where I'm thinking.
So the question is, how many ancestors and generations? Limitless. So when I was a college student, I would, go on these marches, take back the night, and try, fight the patriarchy and this and that. And the power lies within us. When we do the work in inner transformation, the healing can go back as many generations as it needs to, and then go forward to our children and future generations. And it's very, very, very powerful. And it can spread out to those around us in our families as well. Like if you have a difficult relationship with your spouse and you're doing the work within that relationship can heal. And Anu, can you talk a little bit more about relationships of women and their mothers, maybe in that context?
Yeah, like you said, it's all about awareness. And even in the Ved, it is mentioned that there's only one reason for all the problems in the world, only one, and that is avidya, which is lack of awareness. So I feel like, yes, I have learned that it goes back up to 7 generations, this work that we do. But at the same time, I want to say there are no guarantees. We are, even right now, I'm saying there is no guarantee for this course, how it's going to help you. This is sacred work. We are channels, how receptive you are to the healing. And it's just divine timing. For some people, the divine timing has not come. And for some people, they are ready. They see this webinar. Some people, they don't even see this webinar, but they register 5 minutes before the course begins because they are ready. So I would say there is no fixed number, and it's totally a surrender to the universe. Okay?
Beautiful,
you.
beautiful. Thank you, Anu.
Yeah, I hope the divine timing is right for our attendees to enroll in this course. That's great. Let me put in the chat some of the details of the course so that you have that. I'll put that in the chat briefly. And we have a couple more questions. We'll try and get through everyone's comments, thoughts, and please, I think we have some students who want to give a testimonial as well. If they can put a hand up in the participant window, I can kind of.
Ankurji, could you also put in the chat, Anu and I are offering, for anybody who's on the fence, we are offering 15-minute clarity calls for anyone who would like to get an opportunity to talk to both of us privately for 15 minutes and about the class. And we'll be offering those next Tuesday. And there's a link. Do you have that?
I'll look for it. I don't have the
You know
link
what?
if you share.
I have it. I'll put it.
Great.
I'll
Yeah.
put it in the chat, and you can sign up. There's the chat.
Yeah, we have one day,
Perfect.
we have cleared our calendar. So we have some limited spots, but if you really want to discuss your issues and how we might be able to help, this is a good chance.
That's very cool. I'm glad that you're doing that. And please do pick up Shilpa ji and Anumeha ji on that offer for a 15-minute conversation, a clarity call. That's a good title too. So we have Lavanya ji who may want to share their experience. Let me give you permission. If you can unmute yourself, you should be able to share.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Hi, Lavanya. We can hear you, but we can't see you.
Oh,
Would we like to invite her as a panelist? Then she can turn on her camera. Right now, as a speaker, she can't. Yeah?
Yes, please.
All right,
yes.
promoting her to panelist. That will take a quick second for her to accept the invitation and rejoin as a panelist, connecting to audio, turning on camera. And do click that link to schedule a 15-minute clarity call with Shilpa ji and Anumeha ji about the course. All right, Lavanya ji, you should be able to turn on your camera now. There may be something blocking your camera, your video right now.
can you see me now?
There we go.
Yes.
Namaste, everybody, and so nice to see you again, Shilpa ji and Anuji. I just want to share a little bit about my experience with this course. I've taken this same course this previous semester, and I've also taken some of Shilpa ji's previous courses as well, and I just keep coming back for more. This last course is just everything that they said. You apply it, you get to apply it practically. So I was able to, it's a self journey, I think, a journey inwards. I was able to go inwards, and I was going through some difficult times, but being able to find that inward peace by just connecting with the Divine Mother. And they give you a lot of tools and ways to be able to do that. you know, I found myself growing as a better person, you know, being more compassionate, being stronger, not just on a physical realm, but mentally as well. And I found it impacting so many different areas of my life. So even in my work, I work as a healthcare professional. I started listening more to people, listening to what they really have to say and being able to connect to them on that energetic level as well, so I can help them in that way as well. So it's been a beautiful journey for me, and you know, it's changed my perspective on how I see the world really. And connecting to the Divine Mother, I've been able to see Shakti in so many things around me, in nature, in when people are being kind, when someone is helping you out, in my children, you know, I see Shakti coming through, and it's just changed my worldview. And I got to really know a lot of good friends through this. So we've made a very strong network and connection with like-minded individuals, and you know, it's a forum, it's a place for to feel free to share your vulnerabilities, your weaknesses, and you derive strength from each other in a very non-judgmental way. And it's so powerful. You know, when one of our friends was not doing so well physically during the class, and we got together outside of class time, but guided by Shilpaji, and did a prayer session, which was extremely powerful. We used the same tools that we learn in class. And you know, I'm very good friends with many of them. We have a little WhatsApp community where we share constantly. We share, you know, little tips and healing things that we could share with each other. So it's wonderful. I recommend it highly for anyone who's on the shell, on the, you know, they're not sure if they should or should not. Definitely do it. You will not regret.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Lavanya. Thank you. Thank you so much. That was a beautiful testimonial.
Thanks, Lavanya.
Yeah, amazing. And this is kind of what we want at Hindu University of America, right? Not just an online course where you're looking at some scriptures and learning something that is obscure, but how do we apply our Hindu traditions, our ancient wisdom, our heritage, and apply it? That's so cool that you got together and did the ceremony. Again, this is making me happy and I think this is where we are on the path forward, right? With Hindu University of America, what we're doing, and we need you to be a part of it. And so this course, this program, obviously we have some challenges with patriarchy in the Hindu culture and civilization, but we are making efforts, and it's important that I think this course is maybe one of the ones that leading the way. I know there's a lot of people around the world who are doing this work, but we want to be thought leaders in this space and create this platform. And again, just so glad and happy and proud to be doing this work. We have a few more questions, Shilpaji, Anuji, if you want to reflect a little bit. And then Lavanyaji, thank you for, again, joining. And you can, I guess, stay on, no problem.
Anu, did you have something you wanted to add?
No, I just saw Ankur's excitement and I felt like he wants to join the course.
You did say you don't have to have a womb. Great. So I did drop a link to the course in the chat. You can click. It's going to be on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to start January 17th. It's going to go for about 11 weeks. Like, we're on a quarter program. You're going to get your HUA email ID and log in, and the course will be recorded. And if you miss a class, you can do all of that. But again, this interaction, even though it's on Zoom, it is something profound and deep. And so we want you to be a part of it. So do please consider taking the course. We have a few more questions. Okay, so
Ankurji,
yeah.
is Priya there? She's another student. I didn't know if she wanted to share or not. Can you just see if somebody
Priya
else
Nagarajan?
has their hand raised?
She doesn't have her hand raised, but she's
Okay.
there. Priya Nagarajan?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
I'll just promote her to panelist if she...
No, why don't you let her raise her, if Priya, if you would like to share, just raise your hand. Otherwise, Now you've been promoted.
Yeah.
I
She
wanted
accepts
to,
though.
I wanted to invite Priya to share if she wanted to.
Maybe give her a second to get ready. All right, when she comes on, we will allow her. Maybe she's getting set up or something.
That's
We
fine.
got kind of a two questions, one from Niyatiji and one from Sophia, kind of on the ancestral trauma part, right? Overcoming colonial trauma. First of all, how does one come to discover that ancestral trauma is? Is it the root cause of their present day issues? Is it a part of it? How do you contextualize that? And then Sophia's question is, how does your course actually help overcome that trauma, those inner pains that are rooted in those colonial related issues?
So good questions. Thank you. So again, as Anu was saying, we are channels. We help guide you toward your own inner awareness. So you will know as you go deeper what is inside of you. You will touch upon the root causes of what's happening. It's sometimes like an onion. Healing is like an onion. You peel the layers. There's a layer here and you attend to it and release it. There's a layer here. There's another layer. There's another layer, another layer, until everything that's surrounding it can be released. In the case of something that might be like some pain you have in your mysterious pain you have in your body, or some disconnection you might be having, it might take less time. In the case of something like a chronic illness, it may take more time. There might be more layers. So again, it's just about becoming aware and attending to the layers. And we are your guides, and we are going to show you the way. So Anu, is there anything you'd like to add?
This is great. And I just want to add some of the symptoms that somewhere help you identify if you have ancestral trauma. And this is all from the work of Mother Maya, who's a Vedic monk. She says, having a subtle anger against the male species, having a disconnect with your own mother, a deep-rooted insecurity or fear, reproductive disorders, menstrual disorders, conflicts with other women. Like, these are some of the signs that you could be carrying ancestral trauma. But at the same time, like Shilpaji says, we are just creating a space. We are holding a space for you to make your own discoveries.
Yeah,
That's it.
Thank you for holding that space and keeping it going. Shashikanji has kind of I don't know if it's needs justification. He's asking, how do you justify these at the end? But it's more like a statement, I think. Samkhya Yoga and talks about Purush and Prakriti, Shiva and Shakti resides in any individual. So characteristics described are residing in every being, and it's not restricted to the womb. But compassion and love are part of every being. So does it need justification? Is that just Shashikanji? Thank you for sharing. You want to make any comments on that?
Sure. I mean, yes, exactly. We all are a mix of the masculine and feminine qualities. And the feminine qualities, as we know, are the masculine qualities are about this steadiness and stability and like this presence. The masculine brings a very powerful presence, like almost like the ground of existence. The feminine qualities are more about the compassion, the creativity, things like that. We each have both, and it exists in our bodies. It exists in every cell, but we are specifically touching upon that Shakti that resides in the womb. And we're focused on that. Anu, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, what you're saying is absolutely right. Shakti prana is in both men and women, but women have much more of it because they have to give birth.
And it's not like Shakti is located in a particular part of your body, right? It's transcendent. It's like an aura. It feels like it's almost an aura, and that you were talking about it. Once you are realizing and engaging, that aura kind of spreads and shares, and you can help.
What we're talking about is the seat of where certain things are. Just like we can say the seat of Pitta or Vata or Kapha is in different parts or different organs. There's a seat, but it spreads. And or even different pranas are located in different parts, have a seat or a center point. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. And like we're talking about, it transcends, right? This isn't just for Indian women or Hindu women who have dealt with a particular trauma. It seems like a lot of these concepts transcend all boundaries, right? And maybe just make a little comment on the transcendent nature of this issue and how all women, regardless of their faith, what they believe, where they're from, this could benefit them.
Yeah. Shilpa ji?
Absolutely. I was just seeing Ramya, who's our former student, continuing student in some of my classes, has put a comment that the class includes theory, Vedic ancient texts and meaning, meditative space, and many tools, approaches to shape our mental and emotional aspects of ourselves. Thank you so much, Ramya, for sharing that. Yeah, go ahead.
So
We still have quite
I
a
can
few.
answer that, Ankur, before we go ahead. Yes, this transcends to women from different cultures. You don't have to be Hindu for this program. And in my own experience, I have had like a Jewish client, and her grandmother escaped Germany during, you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to say it, but that was such a difficult time. And she was carrying that trauma of being unsafe, and that had transferred to this client of mine. So definitely it is for all women.
Yes, thank you, Anuji. Yes. And I've worked with clients from across cultures. This is, I mean, I feel that this knowledge, this truth inside us doesn't reside in any, it's beyond culture, religion, any of those things. It's just, it's part of who we are as humans.
Yeah. This is kind of a heavy, not heavy, but interesting question, kind of complicated. If somebody else has harmed you or family or any other, will they change through our healing?
You know, that's a very good question. We can't control anyone else's actions, but what we can control is how we respond. And when I was younger, I thought, oh, someone else will heal whatever wounds, or my parents or this person or that person. The thing is, we are the only ones that can heal the holes in us or the scars in us. And so the best way forward is to, in a way, let go of the other person and start by going within. And we do engage with these people that we can engage with these people who have hurt us, but we can engage in the subtle realm where we are connecting with their higher selves. And so it's a safer space in which to engage with people who have hurt us if we decide to do that. And so, but again, I want to emphasize that the work is really going within. And when we shift, what I said before was when we as mothers heal, or women as heal, we see the changes in our families, in our children, in our spouses, everyone. Anu, would you like anything to add?
No, that is perfect.
Thank you.
Totally. Thank you.
Great. We're nearing the top of the hour. People are still adding questions. This is an interesting one. Do women have a better chance at healing themselves from generational trauma than men because of the womb? And then how does a man heal himself who doesn't have the feminine energy, a feminine healing energy in his life? And is this course for men also? Somebody else also asked, can this 20-year-old attend this course, right? Some youth are confused, state of materialistic. Would this help them? So kind of two questions there.
Okay. So this course is been created as kind of a safe space for women and mothers to create community and healing. I have had men in the past ask me about doing a course that is open to everyone. And so that's something on my radar for sure. and men can absolutely heal. You know, it's about accessing the divine in you. It's not about having a specific organ necessarily. It's about really accessing the divine. And so, yes, absolutely. But right now, our work is centered on women and mothers
Great.
of all ages. And even if you've not had children, if you are a 20-year-old and you are struggling with, I don't know, PMS or this or anger at your parents or whatever, yes, this course can help you, because this is a journey of self-discovery.
Great. Nalini ji, thank you for already enrolling in the course. Love to see it. Thank you. Maybe we'll share some readings, some texts in the email follow-up. So we'll send an email follow-up of this webinar to everyone who registered with the recording. We'll include that Calendly link so you can schedule the 15 minutes, but we'll also maybe include some readings. Some people are asking about what books to use, what text to use, what are the principal texts within the Hindu tradition that illuminate the pranic and subtle connections of the divine feminine through the womb to children and to all of humanity. That's from Raviji. Raviji, thank you. Appreciate your comment. You have one more. Let me see. Can you please clarify the patriarchal trauma that you mentioned and the inference that you made that Hindu society did not used to be patriarchal before, perhaps prior to the colonization, but that was 900 years ago, so beyond the 7-generation time frame that you mentioned. Raviji, that's a series of questions. I'll hand it over to Shuplaji to take a crack at it.
So I went through a period of intense sickness 2 summers ago, and I decided for the first time in my life that I was ready to heal myself without the use of steroids, which are anti-inflammatory, and I've used them to control when my body starts to have this inflammatory response. It goes down a very dark path, and I said, I've come to this place now as a healer, as a human being, where I feel like I can do this work. And I wanted to invite steroids basically repress the symptoms and put everything, kind of stop everything. And I wanted to invite everything out. I said, so this is a time. And so my autoimmune is in my colon, and I was going through incredible distress, and I went through 4 months. I kind of, it's a complete act of surrender. I stepped into the chasm without a plan B. I said, I'm going to be able to do this. I'm giving this over now. I'm going to do my work as a healer, and I'm going to see what happens. But I invited everything out that was in my colon. And it went for a very long time, went for 4 months. I lost 20 pounds, which for me is a lot. I was very sick. But at one point, I was able, an ancestress, 19 generations back, came to me in a deep meditation. And she said, I'm going to give you the blueprint of my colon. And so part of my work was integrating the blueprint of an ancestress's from her and integrating it into my body. So that was 19 generations back. And I can tell you, when I received it, there was so much light, so much beauty in the gifting of this to me. And it was just, everything was glowing. Everything was so beautiful. So yes, you can go back beyond 7 generations and see what's there. And in terms of patriarchy and all of that, we're having to get answers. But yes, I do believe that, as a lot of it depends on human beings in a culture, whether a culture can be incredibly oppressive, but you can have people in that culture that are pushing back against it, are subverting it. You can also have human beings in a wonderful culture that are still acting in ways that are oppressive and violent, right? So there's a question of culture. There's a question of yoga, being in, we're just coming out of the Kali Yuga. So you know, we still have a long way to go in terms of expanding our consciousnesses, expanding our hearts, and moving to a more beautiful way of interacting and being. And so a lot of it depends on the yoga, the society, the community, and the human being within that community, and whether they're part they're unconsciously acting along the lines of what that society is saying is important and not important, or saying what a woman is or is not, or that they are subverting that. And I think that those are important considerations.
Thank you for that. Nalini ji, yes, the courses will be recorded and you'll be able to get them afterwards if you enroll. Niti ji, you know, we may offer the course again. We're trying to make sure that we offer it this quarter. So please do, if you can, enroll this quarter, maybe offer a scholarship to somebody that you think would take it. If you can, let's make sure that we have a good cohort for this course this quarter so that we can offer it again in the future, right? That's one of those things that in the University of America, we need enrollment. We can't offer a course if students aren't taking it. Even however great the course is, however much interest there is, we need students to take the courses. It's a university. And if you can step up in some way to help make this course happen, now's the time. You know, the 40, 50 of us still on this who stayed through and appreciate it. Please do schedule that Calendly link. It's in the chat. I'll drop it one more time. Take that time and figure out how you can support this course. If you can enroll, if you know other people, this is something that I would really hope we can grow. Not just one course this quarter, but like I said earlier, a whole program. That, I mean, we know it, and then I think this webinar everyone here already is here because they know it's necessary and part of it, but this just reinforces it on so many different levels. Shilpa
And
ji.
can I just add that I was very, very lucky that Anu had reached out to me and we connected, and you know, she was very important to the offering of this class, and then also Rosemary, and they both committed to teaching this coming quarter as well. And so when you come into this course, you don't just get me as faculty and a guide, you get three of us, and power team, I think we are. And Anu is so knowledgeable, Rosemary is so knowledgeable, and so this is what's being offered. You're getting this right now, and I don't know what's going to happen next quarter, but right now this is what we're offering to you.
Yeah.
Anuji, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just saying that this course has come through Shilpaji. And then Rosemary and me connected with her, but it is almost like magic that we came together. And it's going to get signups, and it is going to do really well because we are not doing it. We are not the doers. So if this course speaks to you, this is something you feel you are ready for, then sign up. Because I'm very sure we are going to get the people who are ready.
Thank you.
Great. This is an interesting question and something to build on. Prajakta Mohariji, I guess that's Prajakji. Can this knowledge be helpful to recover the relationships with my daughter from a terminated relationship? I think that is a question that many men in modern society struggle with, and maybe that doesn't seem like this course is for that, but that's an interesting idea in that whole relationship building and connecting and recognizing, and it's you know, just positive to know that you're trying to make that effort, right? And you're thinking about it.
Absolutely, 100% the work can help, and it has helped many students with difficult and challenging relationships. And there is work that in my previous class, the Yoga of Motherhood, that I teach my students to do that in the subtle realm that we can do, because on the physical realm, if there's a rupture, on the subtle realm, the energetic realm, the pranic realm, there is still that work that can be done. And both Anu and I work with clients privately as well. So right now we're offering this course, but you know, please reach out and we can talk more.
All right, Shilpaji, I think that brings us to the end. We have a few questions, but they've kind of been answered tangentially, and want to give you the time to make some closing thoughts, and if we're going to end with a prayer or shloka or something. It's great. No, it's been my pleasure as always to host and be a part of this, and your passion carries over, and I hope people will take this course and support this important initiative and program. Yeah.
Thank
To
you,
Shilpa
Uncle
ji.
G, for hosting, and Anuji for being such an incredible teammate and guide on this path with all these wonderful students. It's been such an honor. And I just want to say that, like, what do we want? What do women want? You know, I think we want essentially the same thing: to feel that we are healthy and happy, to feel that our families and children are healthy and happy, to feel that those around us, our friends, our community, our extended families are healthy and family. It's really quite simple. And the process of healing is simple too. It's incredibly profound, but it's simple. It's like realizing that a sparkling stream is right here next to you, and all you need to do is to step inside it. And so I invite all of you to come on this journey with us, to be able to step into that sparkling stream, to reconnect with who you are, and to regain your health and happiness. And that's what I want to close with. And I would love for Anu also, please, to give your closing comments.
I just want to say that, when was the last time when you were truly happy? Just think about that.
Beautiful. Thank you all for coming. I would invite you all to, again, put one hand on your heart, one hand on your womb or navel. And let's just end with one breath in and one breath out. We're going to breathe in the beautiful energy that has been cultivated right here, right now. I want you to receive it. And then we're going to release everything and go on with our lives and our days. So let's just inhale that beautiful energy and possibility and happiness and empowerment. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. May the blessings of Divine Feminine, Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati, in all their forms and manifestations, be with you today and always. Thank you and namaste.